Black history they don't want you to know. The Tuskegee Experiments. The Tuskegee Study of Untreated Syphilis in the Negro Male, informally referred to as the Tuskegee Experiment or Tuskegee Syphilis Study, was a study conducted between 1932 and 1972 by the United States Public Health Service and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC, on a group of nearly 400 African Americans with syphilis. The purpose of the study was to observe the effects of the disease when untreated, though by the end of the study, medical advancements meant that it was entirely treatable. The men were not informed of the nature of the experiment, and more than 100 died as a result. On July 25, 1972, the public learned that, over the course of the previous 40 years, a government medical experiment conducted in the Tuskegee, Alabama area had allowed hundreds of African American men with syphilis to go untreated so that scientists could study the effects of the disease. The money funded medical care for survivors and their families, but could not undo the harm. 128 participants died of syphilis or related complications. 40 wives were infected, and 19 children were born with congenital syphilis. Many families also suffered under the stigma. The men were initially told that the experiment was only going to last 6 months, but it was extended for 40 years. After funding for treatment was lost, the study was continued without informing the men that they would never be treated. None of the infected men were treated with penicillin, despite the fact that by 1947, the antibiotic was widely available and had become the standard treatment for syphilis. The 40-year Tuskegee study was a major violation of ethical standards and has been cited as arguably the most infamous biomedical research study in United States history. A United States federal judge stated that Johns Hopkins University, Bristol-Myers Squibb, and the Rockefeller Foundation must face a $1 billion lawsuit for their roles in a similar experiment affecting Guatemalans. Part of the long-term effects today is that some African Americans have been hesitant to get vaccinated against COVID-19 due to the Tuskegee experiments. Black history they don't want you to know.